Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here, even if you are not so much. It's okay. It's one of my first talks in English, so please be kind to me. I need it. I'm very happy to talk about compassion-first design for AI. Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, was right. We've created artificial intelligence, but it has become our master. We are surrounded by these intelligent machines. From the smallest object in your pocket, like your smartphone, to large satellites in space, these machines are all around us, and they are part of our world. And we entrust them with our lives. Our grocery list, where we go, what we do, our memories, our greatest question and darkest secret. These intelligence machines read what we write, watch what we do, listen to our conversation, and answer us in an instant. Sometimes we feel like they know more about us than we know about ourselves. It's like they can read minds. These intelligent machines have become technological extensions of our biological selves. But what are they made of? They are made of algorithms created by you, developers, and they wouldn't be out in the universe if it wasn't for you. But how do they work, and can we control them? So let's take an example, Facebook. More than 2 billion people use Facebook every day. On average, they scroll for 1 hour per day. Harmless? Not really, when you consider that what you see in your news feed is controlled by algorithm. One might say that the algorithm frame how we think and how affect our perceptions. They shape us, and they shape how we perceive ourselves. They shape our perceptions of others, and they influence how we view the world. But don't blame the algorithm. It's not their fault. You see, like little soldiers, these algorithms are on a mission. For Facebook is to get you hooked to your newsfeed and keep you there forever. And like Tom Cruise, nothing gets in the way of the mission. Because it was programmed this way by you, dear developers. When it comes to algorithm, there's no room for feelings or emotion. Algorithms rely on logic and efficiency to accomplish tasks. To achieve their goals, they sometimes come into conflicts with our human values. And since algorithms are here to stay, we have to ask if this smarter machine necessarily imply a better humanity. And we say, fuck it. Let's look at this from another angle. If we want beneficial human-AI relationships, we have to start now. Clearly, there are things that machines do better than humans. We won't deny it. But there is a strength that only we, as humans, possess. For now, at least, it's emotions. So why don't we put our emotional skills to good use? It's high time we focused on augmenting humans and on replacing them. Today, AI can detect, read, and understand emotion through language, body language, and tone of voice. But before jumping the gun, think about this. Can AI genuinely understand us? Can AI develop emotional or social intelligence? Can AI learn empathy and compassion? And if so, can AI teach us empathy and compassion? So let's start with the basics and define what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify your emotion, like I'm very scared right now. Manage your emotion, I need chocolate right away. But someone? No? Okay. Identify the emotion states of other, like you're not scared. This type of intelligence is key to self-awareness, empathy, and social skills. In reality, there is a rift between AI and EI, so deep that you can almost spot a Balrog. Yes, I can be a geek sometimes. So, can we bridge the gap between those two intelligences to develop a healthy two-way relationship? And we say, yes, we can, because we don't always say fuck it. And sometimes I'm polite too, because I'm a lady. And we believe that the key to success is compassion-first design for AI. And even DJ Khaled agrees with us. So, okay, now you're probably rolling your eyes when we say compassion. We get it. It's because there's something like confusing about that word. And we're going to address the elephant in the room right away. Mother Teresa. Yeah, I put Mother Teresa in my presentation. Don't get us wrong. She brought plenty of good to the world, but we have to admit that she changed the way we perceive and understand compassion. Compassion has nothing to do with religion. On the contrary, compassion lives deep within us, even we were born. This is an ability to feel emotion and to care for one another affect the cognitive, physical, psychological, and social development of human beings. Compassion gives us sense of a security and love. It provides comfort and soothes pain. Maslow didn't put it at the top for no reason. Compassion breeds trust, and it's how we build relationship with others. So really, what's compassion? Compassion, according to its definition, is a virtue by which a person can perceive and feel the pain of others and is driven to relieve their suffering. Simply put, it's about understanding that the others are suffering and acting on it to offer relief. So this time you're thinking, here we go again, another trendy designer word to replace empathy. So not really, and here's why. Empathy is putting yourself in other person's shoes to understand them, while compassion is about feeling what the other person feels. It's soaking their emotion until they become your own, until you become that person. Design thinking focuses on problem solving, but compassion goes beyond that. We try to establish genuine trust, and we need to accept people for who they are, accept them as conscious beings facing challenges, pain, and daily battles. Design thinking looks for the solution to a problem, while compassion focused on relieving a person's suffering. The goal isn't to save people like a superhuman, it's just about helping in a meaningful way. So let go of your ego. We are neither superheroes nor gods. The good news is that compassion can be learned. And if compassion can be learned by humans, maybe it can be learned by AI machines. As designers and developers, compassion compels us to create for real people. We shape the world around us, forget product-centered approaches, and put your energy where it truly matters. People. They are the art of compassion-first design for AI. Goodbye. It's okay. Compassion-first design for AI isn't a philosophy, and it's not a Care Bear utopia. It's a commitment, a mindset, and it's a way of creating, doing, and delivering. And if we defined it, compassion is to relieve a person's suffering and place it at the root of all your actions. We merge it to the creative process for development and design, and we use the AI as the ultimate tool for compassion. So compassion first design belongs to everyone, and even you, developers, and every one of us has a role to play in this adventure. We think that language and visual design should come together to lay the groundwork for united collaboration between emotional intelligence and intelligent machines to relieve the suffering of human beings. This is the basis of compassion-first design for AI. So let's put our money where our mouths are. But first, let's have a drink. Cheers, because speaking in English for 45 minutes. Okay. To show you the power and the potential of compassion-first design for AI, let's look at Slack. Alors, why Slack? Because even if you like it or not, it's a brand you're all familiar with. Slack is a team collaboration tool designed to enhance communication between teammates in a work environment. Let's say that as a brand, Slack has a great emotional intelligence. There are little hidden AI gems sprinkled around this onboarding page. The first message from Slackbot is, "Hello, I'm Slackbot. I try to be helpful, but I'm still just a bot. Sorry." The sentence, "I'm still just a bot," highlights Slack value for transparency. From a design point of view, Slack bets on simplicity, a clear information structure, and a step-by-step unveiling of their interface. The users feel guided and supported. In the end, Slack interface is welcoming, accessible, and evokes a feeling of safety, which builds trust between Slack and each user. To demonstrate the impact of good design, let's compare it to Facebook Workplace homepage. What else can we say? It's a little bit overwhelming. The experience Slack offers is clear, coherent, and pleasant, and that for the beginning to end. Just look at these two buttons. What do you notice about them? No one?
Kind of polite. Yes, thanks, rather than just yes or no.
It's a part of it.
They're the same color.
Yep. In fact, Slack empathy and openness is reflected in them. They suggest that Slack cares about their users' comment. Plus, using the green color or both of them demonstrate that Slack is open to all comments. In other words, there are no bad answers. They are willing to equally listen to them all, positive and negative. And a little gesture like this can make a huge difference. Empathy is rooted in Slack culture. And it pays from both the brand and the product. How many companies can brag of having received as many proposals on Twitter? Slack works hard to establish and maintain trust by using visual design and language. Now let's apply compassion-first design to AI to Slack to be no longer just empathetic but compassionate. First of all, before we do anything, we need to go back to the source of what causes suffering to better understand the people we're looking to connect with. Let's remind ourselves that people are at the core of this approach. So it's important to begin with the human compassion story. The human compassion story is divided in 3 layers, which enable us to better understand the person, the context, and the person in context. In the first layer, we look at who is the person is on the surface. For example, gender, age, location, job, strength and weakness, as well as unique personality traits. For the second layer, we dig a little deeper. We try to get a better understanding of the person and their emotional suffering. We uncover the emotion being felt by the person when the suffering occurs, as well as the context that triggers it. And in the third layer, we dig deeper to understand why the person is suffering in this context. Finally, it's in this hidden layer that the source of the pain hides, and it's the source that enables us to figure it out how to relieve it. This is Dani. Dani is 25 years old. She's a developer who started to work for Suji, a London-based advanced technology firm. Dani lives in Paris, and her mother tongue is French. Sounds familiar. Fortunately, she can work remotely. She also the first female to be hired on the team of developers. As you can imagine, she is anxious about her first week. Since English isn't her first language, she's afraid that people won't fully understand what she's trying to say, that she will struggle to follow team conversations. She's afraid to ask for clarification when she doesn't understand something, afraid she will be seen as a burden by her teammates. As if all of this wasn't enough, she's also afraid that people will judge her whenever she shares her work processes. She realizes working in a language you are not fully fluent in, isn't so easy after all, believe me. But Dani is determined to find a place on the team. She wants to make a good impression and she wants to earn the respect of her colleague. At Suji, communication happened on Slack, which Dani and her colleagues use every day. Language barriers are tough, plus having to communicate through writing adds to the challenge. Communicating without non-verbal cues, like a person tone of voice, can be tricky. Above all, she's afraid that her struggle with communicating will affect her integration to the team. And if we get to the bottom of it, Dani's suffering is caused by anxiety. Anxiety caused by the struggle at work because of the language barrier. This language barrier could be the cause of misunderstanding and may cause conflicts. Little or big, conflicts can cause tensions, and nobody likes a hostile work environment. To Dani, communication plays a vital role in the trust between team members. She wants to feel accepted by her team. And so Dani's human compassion story revealed that Slack is the perfect tool to use to relieve a suffering. Slack may be an efficient communication tool, but that doesn't mean communication between team members is good. So how can compassion-first design transform team communication to foster inclusive, healthy, and efficient collaboration? So we will relieve Dani's suffering through design. Let's create not for who we are, but for the people we want to become. And that's where AI can help us most. Est-ce que ça va marcher? Ah non. Oh non. Non, ça marche pas. Ça marche pas. Ah. Ça a marché. So we decided to transform Slackbot into a compassionate communication coach. The mission is to help people become better communicators, help team members communicate clearly, and help teams work together with cohesion. In fact, when compassion mode is activated, Slackbot becomes a compassionate bot. So hard. First, it gets to know you. Then, using AI technologies that we will talk about later, Slackbot will provide communication cues at the right moment and the right context to make communication less stressful. This is how Slackbot will take actions. Action 1, compassion mode. Slackbot learns to better understand how Dani communicates. Action 2, communications. This will make it easier for Dani and John, a colleague, to understand each other and communicate efficiently with one another. Action 3, coach. Since Dani and John aren't the only employee at Suji, Slackbot will coach the entire team. as they work on their communication skills. With compassion mode activated, Danny's integration should be easier. Now let's get into it. First up, action 1. Before Slackbot can help Danny with her stress, it needs to analyze her communication skills based on language use, behavior patterns, communication context. To better understand how she uses language, Slackbot will analyze terms she uses, expression, and emoji and reaction. It will analyze patterns, the way she communicates, her typing speed, pause, and even the tone of her voice. All of this tiny detail speaks volumes. Next, everything is analyzed in context for cohesion. For instance, mastery of language, proficiency, cultural references, and even her emotional state will be considered to determine how she communicates. So all of this data collected by the AI will be used to create a personal communication profile. It will be used to help Danny build confidence when she communicates at work. Based on Bachman and Palmer communication competence model, I'm smart. Not. Language can be broken up in 4 main skills: linguistic, discourse, sociolinguistic, and strategic. Because Danny struggles with English, she doesn't master all the grammar rules. Look at this sentence. The comma can change everything, the meaning and John's fate. Sometimes Danny doesn't understand the nuanced undertone of certain expression, and that causes confusion. For example, sure, that's a great idea, might come off as sarcastic remark to an English speaker. It also happens that Danny used expression incorrectly. Once she told a colleague, "You're a banana," and he didn't quite get it. She was trying to say that she was acting like an idiot because in French we say banane to call someone out. But as you know, in English, calling somebody bananas means that you're crazy in a silly way. The devil is in the details, right? To overcome her lack in vocabulary, Danny used different strategies. At times, she replaced words with emojis to share her feelings. With visual language, it's easier to express emotion, clearly and efficiently. With AI, the personal profile is kept up to date and interactions are adapted accordingly. Slackbot will use natural language understanding, natural language processing, sentiment analysis, and deep learning. Together, these AI skills will give the compassion Slackbot the tool necessary to help Danny with communication tools when she needs them most. Over time, deep learning algorithm will learn from Danny and show her compassion. In the end, Danny becomes a better communicator, making her a better colleague. So what exactly happens when she does need to talk to her colleagues? For her first project, she will be working with John. John is a designer with a personality that's very different from Danny's. You know, designers. First, Slackbot will compare both profiles to help them communicate better. After searching for similarities, Slackbot finds that both speak technical language, use emoji, and have a sense of humor, even if it's not the same kind. Slackbot also looks for differences. Danny sends about 40 messages a day, while John sends 500. Designer don't work. I don't work. And while Danny looks for a team's approval, John engages in debate. With opposing profiles, the relationship may be at risk. If nothing is done to improve the situation, it could result in anxiety, stress, and conflicts. Based on their profile, Slackbot can help Danny and John with this communication challenge and improve collaboration. To do this, Slackbot will use natural language generation, sentiment analysis, affective computing, as well deep learning. So, Slackbot can help Danny understand words and expression in context. For example, the word invaluable is a false cognate in French and in English, and that can be confusing for second language speaker. Thanks to Slackbot, Danny will have quick access to French translation, along with the translation in context. Plus, she can ask for more information if needed. If not, she can simply move on. Slackbot helps Johnny communicate better with Danny to make sure project discussions are well understood. Slackbot knows that John talks a lot and that Danny often types but doesn't hit send. So Slackbot will send gentle reminders to John suggesting that he explains things differently. When it's appropriate, Slackbot will teach Danny how to ask for clarification. Just earlier, we saw how scary this can be for Danny. And when John writes long explanations, she replies with just, okay. With the help from Slackbot, Danny will become more confident and won't be afraid to ask for help. Slackbot can also help by reminding John that he's chatting with a second language speaker. From there, John can decide if the reminders are helpful or not. Finally, Slackbot can share helpful hints and tips with John and Danny on how to better express themselves through a voice frustration. Let's face it, we've all said things we don't mean out of frustration. Right? Yeah, I see it. Slackbot reminders keep conflicts at bay. Thanks to Slackbot, they will establish strong communication and a solid relationship based on trust. In the end, Slackbot becomes more compassionate, as well as Danny and John. In short, Danny and John are more efficient, respectful, and they work better as a team. Now for the final action, how can communication cues help Danny integrate the team? Danny works with a badass team. Each is an expert in their field. A team that includes very different and strong personalities. Let's be real, when you're joining a new team, it's tough to fit in and to be heard. Each has a vision and a perspective shaped by their expertise. Not to mention, they all communicate in different ways. If nothing has to do to mediate the situation, it can cause conflict, divide the team, and the project itself can be endangered. Cohesion is necessary for teamwork. Along with automatic speech recognition, NLP, NLG, and LLG facial and vocal recognition will enable Slackbot to mediate team discussion so that everyone feels valued. Speech recognition technology will detect the speaker emotion and mood. For example, during Slack calls, Slackbot can remind the team to follow conversation rules, such as turn-taking so that everyone can speak their mind or ask questions. When tensions arise, you seem very, very upset. Slackbot can bring back order to the team. So in this example, Mike is quite upset and really frustrated. Perhaps the team needs a little break. Some might need a longer break than others. Facial recognition is also used in video calls to detect emotion, based on micro-movement of the eyes, the lips, and the cheeks. Unlike other tools, our interface focuses on communication cues rather than data. Using facial recognition, Slackbot keep everyone focused on their task. Thor, great beer, seems tired, and the team get off track. Maybe it's time to bring back the brief and focus on what matters. Slackbot supports the team when they work together, make sure each voice is heard and each person feels valued. Slackbot show compassion to each team member, and in return, they teach Slackbot compassion too. And teams that play compassion at the heart of its actions will experience better cohesion and greater trust. All in all, the team grows closer together, which fosters a stronger business culture. Sorry. No need for a complete overhaul or fancy tool to empower your team. In moments like this, we realize that the smallest detail can have the biggest impact. As a result, compassion impacts every level. Dani feels more confident working in English with her team, and she feels supported. She learned useful communication skills, which continue to work on. More confident and eager to learn, Dani is now a precious member of Suji. Now, when Dani works with John, she feels understood. They listen, they share, and they collaborate in a respectful manner. They trust each other and work as an efficient pair. Dani feels appreciated and valued by her colleagues. The team understands each other and work efficiently together. They all feel like they belong. With a team of cross-functional experts, Suji is ready for any challenge. All of this creates a business culture that is both solid and engaging. What a better combination. Nothing can stop them now. Thanks Compassion First Design, Suji is on the path to changing the world. Now, after big case studies on Slack, we will see how Compassion First Design can change things elsewhere. Meet Jonathan. Jonathan is autistic, just like 700,000 people in the United Kingdom. For people with Asperger's, society is far from adapted. We are surrounded by stimuli and there's no escape. Poor Jonathan always feels drained and overwhelmed. The abundance of lights and sound can cause anxiety and panic. One thing Jonathan loves is Lego. He plays Lego all the time. But he lacks social skills because of his understanding of the universe. If we created an augmented reality environment using Lego and Compassion First Design, Jonathan would have access to an environment that is completely personalized, where he can control the stimuli around him. He no longer feels in danger. He also has a safe space where he can develop social skills in context, a space where he can simulate social situations without the added pressure of real-life interaction. A place of his own that celebrates differences, where he can be himself, free of judgment. Now, let's talk about why Samantha isn't here today with us. 2 weeks ago, we were invited to Paris to give this talk. But the great Canadian weather, because we live in Quebec, prevented Samantha from making her flight. After missing her flight, she has to stand in line at the front desk for over 2 hours. For most of us, it's not a big deal. But Samantha has, arthritis. I know it in French, in English it's very difficult to say. So she can't be on her feet for that long. And now it's been 2 weeks, and she's still struggling to walk. And that's why she isn't here today. She's in pain, like insane pain, and physical and emotional. She is disappointed that she can't be here and upset, and it cost her 2 plane tickets. If Air Canada had applied compassion-first design for AI, perhaps Samantha would be here today. First off, the brand could improve and adapt their mobile app. A more precise algorithm would help Air Canada manage customer expectation better and help people adapt more calmly when they deal with frustrating situations. Speaking of, Air Canada could also offer flexible connections using smart rule recalculation of algorithm that function like a GPS to help people reach their destination on time. Lastly, in-app geolocalization would help travelers navigate airport buildings. And finally, something as small as giving customer a number while they wait for help from the front desk go a very, very long way for Samantha. The wait will be more bearable for everyone and the experience will be more accessible. And for those with visible and invisible health conditions, hey, are you almost finished? Don't go. I have compassion. Sometimes pain and suffering are invisible. I'm in pain right now. But doesn't mean they're not there. Let's make our experiences more compassionate and accessible. Let's make uncomfortable experiences as comfortable as possible. Make a bit of creating experiences that are more inclusive and more human. When compassion is implemented every step of the way, it becomes a second nature. That's what we call habituation. Habituations occur when behavior becomes so rooted that we don't bother to think about it anymore. For example, knowing where you'll find the forks in your kitchen. This phenomena, this is my really smart moment, is the result of a process known as long-term neural potentiation. When your brain activates the same neural pathways over and over again, neurons are rewired, creating improved passages which can transfer information faster and faster until it becomes a reflex. This is what we hope to achieve with compassion-first design for AI. We want compassion to become an automated response triggered by everyday activities. Together, let's practice compassion to foster healthy and symbiotic relationship between AI and humans. We hope compassion becomes central to each and every action we take to better our lives and change the world. Remember, trust is a human experience. And if we pour compassion into our key moments with AI, we will foster a true and beneficial partnership between humans and AI. Starting today, here's how you can do to practice compassion-first design for AI. Practice 1. Imperfection, not perfection. Perfection does not exist, nor does the perfect user. So forget perfect case studies and step aside your comfort zone. Apply compassion to truly understand people. Practice 2. Compassion is a two-way street. Compassion is practice and learn with oneself and with others. Let's make compassion central to all of our actions. Practice 3. No mud, no lotus. Pain and struggles are inevitable, but suffering is optional. Let's work to relieve the suffering and make life bearable for all. Practice 4. Caring, not surveying. Data privacy and ethical experiential control are crucial to compassion-first design. Let's value honesty and transparency. Practice 5. Augmented by technology and not replaced by it. Technology as a tool to enhance skills and live augmented experiences to empower us as augmented humans. Practice 6. Exceptions are the norm. Celebrate differences, invite inclusiveness, and embrace individuality. When we bet on the strengths of their difference, great things happen. Practice 7. People, not problems. Accept people the way they are, with all their pain and challenges. Behind every tough situation, there's a human with a story. And finally, practice 8. Compassion belongs to everyone. It's up to us to take care of one another. To make a real difference, we all have a role to play. Compassion first design can also transform your business. Compassion reduces risks, reduces spendings, allows you to expand your pool of customers and employees, and focus on engagement and retention instead of permanent acquisition. Compassion first design is practiced on a daily basis. You can choose to live a miserable and cynical life, but that's your choice. And to quote the Dalai Lama, yeah, I know. Compassion is the radicalism of our time. So let's start a revolution. Compassion is not given, it's something we learn, and it takes courage. Do you have the courage to change? So let's start now. If you want, I can call Samantha and send some love from London. What do you say? Okay. Ooh. So I'm using Facebook, I know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she doesn't answer. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go. It's for you. Hello. Oh, make some noise. Okay. So I will keep her that way. Okay. So my name is Manon Gruaz. I know it's French, it's difficult to say. And say hello to Samantha Bilodeau. We are Compassion First designer. You can leave us comments, share your opinions, follow us on Twitter, and you're welcome to meet us, even if she is here, at the end of the talk. Thanks for being here, and Devox UK for inviting us. And now it's your turn, ask away, but please, slowly. Thank you, and remember, I'm like Danny. So, thank you. Okay.
Are Danny and John married?
Not yet.
Danny was a precious member before as well.
Yeah. Do you have other questions?
What happens, with Slackbot when it tells John to line it in a bit so to not
Sorry, je vais te couper parce que j'entends rien. Sorry, I speak in French. Okay, can you repeat, please? I'm really
in the example where John got a warning saying that you're speaking too fast,
Mhm.
like I am now.
Yeah.
So when that happens, and what if John doesn't react well to it and just gets even more angry? That a robot is trying to say,
In fact, when we try the example, we try to put sentence that makes not people angrier.
so is there a detection that says, this didn't work, so let's try it?
Yeah, and we always try to have like buttons to give them choices like, okay, you're right, or bugger off. What you say? So we try to always put choices, and sometimes, you can just put compassion mode deactivated if you don't want. If you're like a mean person and you don't want to be compassionate, you can.
I'm not asking for myself.
Another question? Oh, I like question in English. Yeah.
So, following up on the same
Oh, okay.
There is like a third part in our conversation.
Okay, so first of all, compassion mode, you can choose not to use it.
Yeah, but
And the you know the stuff that appears on the screen is not just for you or for me, it's for both of us. We all see that. I don't have just for me.
yeah, but can I choose to switch off compassion mode for all participants of our conversation?
Yeah,
If I don't want.
yeah. If someone doesn't want to use it, nobody use it. In the team.
Okay, so I can block the whole team from compassion.
Yeah, but thanks. I don't want to say bad words, but thanks.
Can I add something? I really like that discussion. I mean, somehow we as teachers, so we have to be good teachers.
Right, right.
So that is not so. This goes a bit in this direction. We say, okay, it could be dangerous, so let's be good teachers or good parents or whatever.
Yeah, but that's a bit
Is it
different
a
because you're like
working-
sharing the
is there a working
conversation in real time.
No.
Teaching, you just like provide an instant.
We search for developers if you want. We are looking for. That's a better word. Another question? Oh, yeah.
Do you support any other languages in English yet?
It doesn't work, so we can support every. Give us the text, I will put in my design. Nick. Oh, another question. Wow.
I don't know if it's a good question, but there might be some, trade-off between efficient conversation and compassion. I mean, for instance, if I speak to a people who is usually angry,
Mhm.
maybe I have some way to tell him things which is different from other people. So maybe if I have a two-people conversation, and I want to be this conversation to be efficient, it might be not compassionate. I don't know if I mean what I say. If I have to have the most working conversation.
You know, compassionate is not just. How you say that in English? Oh. Just care about utopia. You can be compassionate and straight to the point.
It's not a matter of straight to the point to me. I mean, it's if I talk to a person who's usually angry, is usually, I don't know, upset or something like this, and I want to reach the most efficient conversation between two people, that's not straightforward to be compassionate, to speak compassionately to some people. I don't know if there is some trade-off or if you consider this kind of stuff. I mean, if the algorithm moves to the most efficient way for A to talk to B, and considering this kind of situations, I don't know.
Maybe we must try, but I think we can be like compassionate even if the person is angry. I think so.
I hope so.
You can be kind to a person that is very angry and upset, and maybe compassion can make you learn more about the person, why he is angry all the time.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe find out a way that is better and efficient without to be angry for talking with him. No? Okay. Ooh.
Hi. First of all, that was a really good talk. So,
Oh, thank
well
you.
done. Your French, your English is much better than my French, so I certainly prefer our language.
Thanks.
My question is, do you have any tips or hints for? Because I feel like when I've sat down with a designer or when I've sat down with a business analyst, describing something compassionately is kind of a good way to get people on side, as it were. So if there's a feature that I disagree with or something, or a feature that I see, oh no, this is going to go horribly wrong.
Okay, so I work with 31 developers and I'm the only designer, so it's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm the only woman, always asking why. They talk, and why do you do that? I'm acting like I'm blonde all the time. and why you do that. And sometimes when they answer, they're like, oh yeah, I said nothing, I just asked why. And they calm themselves and try to use words that I understand. And another technique I used with developers, I draw with them. They have to draw with me everything. We have like this piece of paper, 2 pencils, and we just talk about the project and we draw. And even if they don't know how to draw, because they always say, "Oh, I don't know how to draw," we don't care. Draw, and I found out that was better, and it makes greater product for my part. Thank you for your question. It was amazing. Now I must rest. Bye. Have a good day.